They say growing old is inevitable, but what almost no one tells you is that many times we don't age because of the passing years, but because of the silent habits we accumulate without realizing it. Those little daily gestures, those seemingly harmless routines, are the ones that end up stealing your energy, your joy, and even the spark in your eyes. And the hardest part is that they're not dramatic or obvious things. They're everyday choices that seem normal until one day you wake up and feel your body doesn't respond the same. Your mind feels foggy, your skin shows exhaustion, and deep inside, there's an emptiness you can't quite explain. Let me introduce myself. I'm Gabriel, and I've been studying and practicing Stoicism as a philosophy of life for more than 15 years. Along this path, I've guided hundreds of people around the world to live with wisdom, with virtue, and above all, with courage. Because aging with dignity is not about genetics or luck. It's a conscious decision about what you feed your body, your mind, and your spirit. And that is built through habits. Some wear you down and dim your light, while others rejuvenate you, restore your calm, and remind you that it's never too late to start again. In this intimate talk, as if we were sharing a quiet cup of coffee, we'll go through 10 habits that are silently aging you, maybe without you even noticing. And more importantly, we'll see how to replace them with simple, natural, and deeply human practices that can bring energy, purpose, and calm back into your life. I invite you to open yourself to reflection, to question what you do each day, and to discover that the power to rejuvenate is not in the past or in some miracle cure, but in what you choose to do today. Let's begin. Number 1, poor sleep. They say the body doesn't forgive, and sleep is the perfect example. Sleeping poorly doesn't just drain your energy the next day, it ages your skin, speeds up the deterioration of your organs, and robs you of mental clarity. The strange thing is that we're often unaware of how small habits sabotage our nights. Maybe you eat dinner late, with heavy foods that force your body to work while you're trying to rest. Maybe you stay glued to your phone until your eyes blur, without realizing that blue light is telling your brain to stay awake. Or maybe you turn off the lights, but the same reel of worries keeps playing in your head. All of that builds up day after day, and what seems like a bad night turns into chronic wear and tear that shows in your face, your patience, and even your ability to enjoy life. I went through a rough stage of insomnia myself. I remember working late into the night, answering messages at dawn, convincing myself that sleeping less was a sign of productivity. For months, I was a zombie in a tie, dragging my body around and downing coffees as if they were vitamins. The result was exhaustion that no amount of rest could fix. It was during that time that I came across a passage from Marcus Aurelius, where he spoke about how each day deserves a calm body and mind to face it. It hit me like a mirror. I was burning through my days without even noticing. From then on, I understood that good sleep is not a luxury. It's a duty to myself. There's something deeply philosophical about sleep. While you surrender to rest, your body works to repair, regenerate, flush out toxins, consolidate memories, and even regulate emotions. Not sleeping well is like never servicing a car. At first, nothing happens, but little by little, the parts start to fail. That's why poor sleep ages you silently. You don't notice it right away, but the damage adds up. So, how do you break this silent habit? Start with what doctors call sleep hygiene, though I prefer to call it a nightly ritual. Dim the lights in your home when the sun goes down, because nature runs on signals and your brain still responds to them. Avoid arguments or news right before bed. Your nervous system doesn't distinguish between a real problem and a mental movie. Give yourself a moment for light reading, a prayer, or a short meditation. Whatever resonates with you. The goal is to send the message, it's time to let go. One practice that changed me was imagining the sunset every night. I would close my eyes and picture the sun sinking behind a mountain. With each slower breath, I felt my thoughts dimming as well. It may sound simple, but that visualization helped me reconnect with a natural rhythm I had forgotten. I invite you to try it. Lying down, eyes closed, 3 deep breaths, and then draw in your mind a sunset that brings you peace. Also, pay attention to your room's temperature. A cool body rests better. And don't underestimate the importance of a mattress and pillow that truly support your rest. We get used to little discomforts that, though small, end up sabotaging sleep quality. Ask yourself, what signals am I giving my body to sleep, and which ones might be confusing it? Sleeping well is not some hotel luxury, it's an act of self-love. When you do it, you don't just restore energy, you regain dignity, memory, humor, and even the ability to face problems with a different perspective. Poor sleep steals youth from the inside out. Good sleep is one of the most underestimated secrets to silently rejuvenating. Because rest is a reminder that even at night, life continues to care for you, if you give it the chance. Number 2. Eating ultra-processed foods. Eating is not just a biological act. It's deeply emotional and cultural. But what often goes unnoticed is how modern industry has turned that sacred act into a minefield of products that look like food, but are actually chemical formulas designed to make you buy more, not live better. Refined flours, hidden sugars, altered fats. All of these age you silently. You notice it in dull skin, sluggish digestion, joints that creak before their time. And worst of all, in that mental fog that robs you of clarity, as if your brain were being fueled by smoke instead of real nourishment. I remember a season when I lived off fast food because I was constantly traveling. Back then, I thought I could make up for it with exercise and strong coffee. The truth is, I ended up with an inflamed stomach, a terrible mood, and a constant sense of fatigue. That's when I realized food doesn't just fill you, it builds you. If you build with poor quality bricks, the house falls apart. The body works the same way. Ultra-processed foods act like cheap gas in a fine engine. They get it running, sure, but soon enough they leave residue and wear it down. The tricky part is they're not obvious. Whole grain breads that are really just sugar with coloring, yogurts with more chemicals than milk, cereals sold as healthy but sweeter than cake. This is where Stoicism hits hard. Seneca said that what seems like pleasure is often poison in disguise. And today's dining tables are full of those disguises. So how do you break this silent habit? Start with simplicity, real food, the kind your grandmother would recognize without reading a label. Fruits, vegetables, legumes, seeds, plain meats. You don't need to be radical or obsessive, just let the real outweigh the fake. One rule I adopted was this: if I can't pronounce the ingredient list, I don't buy it. It may sound silly, but it works. Another powerful practice is creating your own replacement plan. For example, instead of industrial juices, water with slices of fruit. Instead of stuffed cookies, a handful of nuts. Instead of bread full of additives, a small piece of artisanal bread. It's about shifting your mindset from quantity to quality. Try imagining this with me: a farmhouse table with fresh broth, aromatic herbs, and simple bread. Now contrast it with a plastic tray filled with packaged products and artificial colors. Where do you think your body feels cared for? That visualization can help you choose better the next time you're at the supermarket. On a practical level, make grocery shopping a conscious act. Spend more time in the fruit and vegetable aisles than in the shiny box aisles. And remember, cooking is an act of self-love, even if it's something simple. Making a vegetable soup can be more rejuvenating than the most expensive cream. Eating ultra-processed foods is easy, but it silently robs you of youth. Nourishing yourself with real food is a reminder that nature is still your best medicine. And when you choose that, you're not just caring for your body, you're honoring your dignity because you refuse to hand over your life to an industry that profits while you wear down. That decision, small as it may seem, is one of the most revolutionary steps you can take toward a long, clear, and energetic life. Number 3, chronic stress and rumination. The human body was designed to respond to immediate danger. A strange noise in the night, a sudden animal encounter, a situation that demands quick reaction. The problem is that in modern life, no lion is chasing us, yet the mind still acts as if it's surrounded by constant threats. So we live with cortisol on overdrive, tight chests, clenched jaws. That state, sustained day after day, ages us silently. It doesn't show all at once, but it etches into the face, weighs down the back, and dulls the ability to enjoy even the simplest things. I remember a time when I would fall asleep replaying past arguments and wake up imagining problems that hadn't even happened yet. It was like having a radio on in my head, broadcasting the same news 24 hours a day. Until one day, I looked in the mirror and saw a tired man, even though I had slept 8 hours. That's when I realized what I was missing wasn't sleep. It was inner silence. And a phrase from Epictetus came to mind. We are not affected by things, but by the opinions we have about them. I discovered that I was my own enemy, feeding rumination like throwing dry wood on a fire. Chronic stress isn't just psychological, it's physical. It raises blood pressure, weakens the immune system, accelerates cellular aging. And rumination, that endless loop of thoughts that lead nowhere, is like being trapped on a carousel that never stops. The mind burns energy but goes nowhere. It's exhausting and at the same time invisible to others. So how do you break this cycle? First, by distinguishing between a real problem and a repeated thought. A real problem requires action. A repeated thought requires awareness. Ask yourself, can I act on this right now? If the answer is no, then let it go. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring. It means trusting that not everything depends on you, nor must everything be solved immediately. Here's a short breathing exercise often used in heart coherence. Inhale to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 6, and repeat for 2 minutes. As you do it, imagine your heart moving to the rhythm of a calm wave. This isn't magic, it's physiology. It helps lower cortisol and reminds your body that it's safe. You can also train the mind with a little Socratic dialogue. When a recurring worry appears, answer it as a teacher would. What proof do I have that this will happen? What alternatives am I not seeing? What if I don't solve it today? These questions interrupt the loop and create space for new perspectives. And let me pause here for something special. If these words have been helpful to you so far, I invite you to support this channel. Subscribe, leave a like, and tell me in the comments what country you're watching from. That way, you're not only helping me reach more people, but also giving me the joy of knowing where we're walking together on this search for serenity. Back to the point. Breaking free from chronic stress doesn't mean disconnecting from the world. It means learning to respond instead of reacting. It's about reclaiming the power of your attention, which is the most valuable resource you have. When you choose what to focus on, you're choosing what will aid you and what will renew you. Stress and rumination steal life in small, steady doses. Temperance, on the other hand, returns it silently, steadily, and with renewal. And that's where true freedom lies, in knowing your peace doesn't depend on everything happening outside, but on what you decide to nurture within. Number 4, sedentary lifestyle and weak muscles. There's a phrase I heard years ago that stuck with me. Strength is the last refuge of independence. And it's true. We're not talking about lifting weights at the gym or running marathons, but something much simpler. Being able to get up from a chair without help, carry your grocery bags, climb a flight of stairs without gasping for air. When you let a sedentary lifestyle take over, what you lose isn't just muscle. You lose freedom, confidence, even the ability to decide over your own life. The sad part is, it happens quietly, little by little, until one day you realize your body no longer responds the way it used to. I went through a stage of extreme inactivity when I was working long hours in front of the computer. The funny thing is, I justified it by thinking, well, I walked to the kitchen. That counts, right? Until one day, after bending down to pick something up from the floor, I felt a pull in my back that left me stiff for days. That pain taught me what I already suspected. Lack of movement was aging me before my time, and I didn't understand it through theory. I understood it through pain itself. History also gives us powerful examples. Roman legionaries, for instance, didn't train to look good in the mirror, but to stay useful in battle and in daily life. Their strength was functional. It allowed them to endure endless marches, carry heavy gear, and survive. That practical vision of strength is what we need to reclaim today. It's not about aesthetics, it's about independence and dignity. So how do you start breaking free from inactivity? with the bare minimum. You don't need machines or expensive memberships. Your own body is the perfect tool. Push, pull, bend, stretch. Those are the movements that guarantee your autonomy. Try a basic routine: 10 slow squats, 10 wall pushes, 10 arm lifts with a water bottle, 5 minutes a day. That's it. And the amazing part is, the body responds quickly because it's designed to move. Beyond strength, mobility is key. The body ages more from stiffness than from years. Try the chair test. Sit down and stand up without using your hands. If it's difficult, that's a clear sign of what you need to work on. Make mobility a ritual, like brushing your teeth. A few daily stretches for your hips, back, and shoulders can be the difference between walking tall or hunched over 10 years from now. I also suggest tracking your progress with small challenges. For example, how many times can you stand up from a chair in 1 minute? Or how many steps you take each day? It's not about competing with anyone. It's about proving to yourself that you can improve. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a reminder that you're still building life. Sedentarism ages you because it robs you of autonomy in silent installments. But strength and movement give youth back from the inside out. It's no coincidence the Stoics spoke as much about discipline of the body as of the soul, because a strong body sustains a serene mind. And in that balance lies true freedom, the freedom to stand up on your own, to walk wherever you want, to depend on no one for the simplest things. And believe me, that is priceless. Number 5, social isolation. Isolation ages you faster than a bad diet. Your body may be relatively healthy, but if you live too long without genuine company, something inside begins to fade. We are social beings by nature, and even if modern life pushes you towards solitude, busy children, friendships lost over the years, partners who are no longer there, your heart still craves connection. Excessive silence becomes an invisible weight. It steals joy, makes you more vulnerable to sadness, and even weakens your immune system. And the worst part is, it happens slowly, without you noticing, like a drop of water falling on the same spot until it wears down the stone. Think about this. When was the last time you had a long conversation, without checking the clock, with someone who truly listened? Sometimes isolation isn't about a lack of people, but a lack of real bonds. You can be surrounded and still feel alone. I saw this up close with my neighbor, Mr. Lewis. After becoming a widower, he spent months shut inside his house. He didn't lack material things, but the light in his eyes dimmed. Until one day I invited him for a coffee at the corner cafe. That small routine became our weekly meeting, and what I witnessed was a rebirth, from a timid smile to a spark in his gaze. It didn't change the whole world, but it changed his world. The Bible puts it simply in Ecclesiastes 4:9-12. 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. That ancient wisdom still holds true. Isolation makes us vulnerable, but companionship keeps us standing. And this isn't about having dozens of friends, but about cultivating at least a couple of real connections that restore your sense of belonging. So how do you break this silent habit? Start close to home. Make a list of 3 people you'd like to reconnect with. Call them, invite them for a walk, share a simple meal. Don't wait for big gatherings. A small, consistent gesture is enough. And if you don't find those people in your current circle, consider joining a new space. A class, a book club, a volunteer group. The point isn't to fill your schedule, but to open spaces for true connection. Here's a simple exercise. Draw a circle on a sheet of paper. Inside, write the names of the people you can truly be yourself with. Outside, write the names of more distant or superficial relationships. That map will show you where it's worth investing your energy. Because sometimes we spend our attention on those who add little, while neglecting those who truly bring us life. You can also create rituals of connection. A weekly walk with someone, a set call on Sundays, a monthly coffee at the same spot. Consistency builds roots, and those roots hold more than you imagine. It's not about filling the emptiness with social noise, but about nourishing it with authentic company. Social isolation ages you in silence because it erodes hope and weakens your spirit. But bonds, even just a few, rejuvenate. Not only because they fill the heart, but because they remind you that you still matter, that your presence has a place in this world. And when you feel that, even wrinkles feel lighter because life regains its shared meaning. Number 6. Self-criticism and toxic self-talk. The most dangerous voice isn't always someone else's, it's often your own. That voice that never quiets down, that keeps reminding you of past mistakes, that whispers you're not enough, that you should have done more, that it's too late to change. When self-criticism turns toxic, it ages you faster than time itself, because it doesn't just affect your mood, it changes your body, raising stress, lowering immunity, and even showing in the way you walk or smile. The sad truth is, most of us learn that voice as children, hearing it at home, in school, in society, and without realizing it, we adopted it as if it were ours. I remember a period of my life when every decision came with an inner phrase, "You're going to ruin it." No matter what I did, the voice was there, like an unrelenting judge who was never satisfied. Until one day, in a therapy session, the psychologist asked me to imagine that voice sitting in a chair in front of me. He said, "Talk to it." And I did. It felt strange, but it was freeing. I discovered that voice wasn't me. It was an echo of past demands, a reflection of other people's fears that I had internalized. From then on, I learned to recognize it, and little by little, put it in its place. This is where Jung's psychology becomes helpful. He spoke about the shadow, that part of us that holds what's repressed, what we don't want to see. Often that shadow shows up as inner criticism, not to destroy us, but to show us where we need to integrate and heal. Recognizing that your inner voice may be distorted doesn't mean ignoring it. It means learning to dialogue with it differently. So how do you break the habit of toxic self-criticism? Start by distinguishing between constructive criticism and destructive judgment. The first points out what you can improve. The second just crushes you with no way out. You can practice the empty chair exercise. When the voice shows up, imagine it as an external character and answer it out loud. You'll be surprised at how liberating it feels to take it out of your head. Another powerful tool is writing a compassion letter. Not a sugary one, but a firm, honest one. I know you failed at this, but you also overcame that. I recognize your effort. You're not perfect, but you're still standing. That act reshapes your relationship with yourself, turning the voice into a guide instead of an executioner. A deeper step is creating a courage mantra. Something short you can repeat when the critical voice tries to dominate you. Mine, for example, is, "I am more than my mistakes." It's not about magic. It's about reminding yourself that life is bigger than any passing judgment. Ask yourself, what would you say to a loved one if they spoke about themselves the way you speak about you? You'd likely be kinder, fairer, more humane. That same compassion, you deserve it too. Toxic self-criticism ages you because it drains your vitality from within, like a constant drip wearing away at your spirit. But when you replace that voice with one that pushes you forward with respect and firmness, you don't just rejuvenate your spirit, you reclaim the power to be your own ally. And believe me, walking with an ally inside makes life feel much lighter, and the passage of time stops feeling like a sentence. Number 7. Lack of purpose. A human being can survive with little food, scarce money, and even through serious illness. But what we cannot endure is living without a why. When purpose is missing, the body slowly shuts down, the eyes lose their spark, and routine becomes a weight that ages you from the inside out. It's not about having grand goals or spectacular projects, but something more intimate, feeling that what you do has meaning, that each day is worth getting up for. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived concentration camps, described it in a striking way. Those who had a purpose, even a small one, endured horror better than those who gave in to despair. That teaching deeply marked me when I first read it in my youth, because I realized that meaning doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on the inner decision to give significance to what we live. I myself went through a stage where I woke up without direction. I did things out of inertia, like a programmed machine. And the strange part was, I wasn't lacking anything materially, yet I felt empty. That's when I decided to stop and ask myself, what values do I want to honor each day? What legacy do I want to leave, even if it's small? That reflection led me to rediscover my purpose in guiding others to live with more clarity and peace. It didn't change the world, but it changed my world. So how do you begin to break this habit of living without purpose? I suggest a simple but powerful exercise. Take a sheet of paper and divide it into 3 columns. In the first, write down your values, things that truly matter to you, like honesty, compassion, freedom. In the second, your talents, what you enjoy or know how to do. And in the third, the world's needs that resonate with you, even if they're small. Where those 3 columns intersect, you'll find powerful clues to a purpose that's real and meaningful. Another tool inspired by Frankl is asking yourself questions of meaning. What awaits me today that deserves my attention? Who can I help, even with just a word? What challenge can I face with dignity? Write them in your journal each morning and answer them without hurry. You'll see how, little by little, your mind starts to find direction. And if you feel you still haven't found anything, start with simple acts of service. Listening to someone, caring for a plant, cooking with love. Sometimes purpose doesn't reveal itself through a great vision, but through the accumulation of small gestures that uphold your dignity. I also recommend recording a commitment to yourself. It could be a voice note where you say, "Today I choose to live with purpose, even in the smallest things." Listen to it every morning. It's not a cheap trick. It's a reminder that connects you to your conscious choice. Lack of purpose ages you in silence because it leaves the soul without direction. But reclaiming a sense of meaning, no matter how humble, rejuvenates. It gives you reasons to smile, energy to move, and strength to endure. As Marcus Aurelius said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." And that why is not something you'll find in a distant future. It's something you can build today. Number 8. Screens and artificial light. You might not notice it, but every extra minute in front of a screen is like a loan you take out against your energy and your youth. The problem isn't technology itself, but the excess and the disorder in how we use it. The glow of screens at night tells your brain it's still daytime, and so you sleep worse. Constant notifications hijack your attention, and before you know it, hours have slipped away that you'll never get back. And that overstimulation, though it feels normal, ages you. It steals your rest, your focus, your calm. I experienced something remarkable at a retreat I attended a few years ago. There, they asked us to leave our phones in a box for several days. At first, I felt restless, almost naked, as if a part of my body had been taken away. But after 2 days, something amazing happened. My breathing slowed, my mind cleared, and even the colors of the landscape looked more vivid. It was a brutal reminder of how much invisible noise my phone had been stealing from me. Excessive screen use doesn't just harm your sleep, it strains your eyes, causes neck and back pain, and above all, scatters your mind. You live with the feeling of being busy, but rarely focused. And focus is like a muscle. Weaken it, and it gets harder and harder to recover. So how do you break this silent habit? It's not about living like a hermit, but about setting clear boundaries. A simple strategy is the 3-12-30 method. 3 set times a day to check notifications, 12 adjustments on your phone to reduce distractions, mute apps, remove unnecessary alerts, delete shortcuts you don't use, and 30 minutes a day devoted to a deep screen-free activity, reading a book, writing, walking. I also suggest creating what I call the golden hour, the first 60 minutes after waking without screens. That time is sacred because it sets the tone for your day. If you fill it with news and messages, your mind starts in chaos. If you dedicate it to silence, reflection, or movement, your body and mood will thank you. Here's another exercise. Set your phone to black and white for a week. You'll notice how suddenly social media and ads lose their charm, and your attention shifts back to real things. It may seem insignificant, but it's a powerful trick to regain control. Don't forget to care for your evenings as well. An hour before bed, dim the lights, put away devices, and return to the basics. a quiet conversation, light reading, a prayer. Your brain needs clear signals to know it can finally rest. Screen overuse ages you because it robs you of the most valuable thing, your present. But when you learn to use them as tools and not as chains, you rejuvenate your mind and spirit. Because the real power isn't in shutting off the digital world. It's in reigniting your own attention. And in that recovered space, life feels yours again. Number 9. Poor breathing and bad posture. There's something curious. Almost no one thinks about how they breathe or how they sit until pain shows up. Yet both breathing and posture are invisible habits that, when done poorly, age you at surprising speed. Breathing only from the upper chest keeps your body in a constant state of alert, as if you were always running from something. Slouching, on the other hand, compresses your organs, tenses your muscles, and projects fatigue even when you don't feel it as much. And with the passing years, those small tensions turn into chronic stiffness, fatigue, and even digestive issues. I experienced it myself. I used to spend hours hunched over my desk writing, until one day my neck felt like stone. I tried massages, painkillers, but nothing fixed the root of the problem. It wasn't until a breathing workshop that I realized I had been breathing wrong for years. Always shallow, always high up, as if I wasn't allowing myself to let go. That day, I discovered the difference between breathing to survive and breathing to live. The body is honest. If you slouch, it shuts down. If you open up, it activates. Deep breathing that fills the abdomen not only oxygenates the blood more effectively, it also calms the nervous system. And upright posture isn't just aesthetic, it's a reminder of dignity, of presence. Marcus Aurelius spoke of walking as a citizen of the world with your head held high. And while he meant it morally, it also applies physically. The way you walk reflects your inner state. So how do you start breaking the habit of shallow breathing and slouching? Try the wall test. Stand against a wall with heels, glutes, back, and head touching it. Hold that position for 90 seconds. It feels uncomfortable at first, but it teaches your body what natural alignment feels like. Practice it daily, and you'll see your posture slowly shift. Also, introduce micro breaks. Every hour, stop what you're doing and take 3 deep breaths with your eyes closed. Then stretch your arms up and out to the sides as if you wanted to take up more space. You don't need a gym, just a constant reminder that your body craves movement and air. Another exercise, use a small ball, a tennis ball works, and place it between the wall and your upper back. Roll slowly up and down. That self-massage releases the accumulated tension in your trapezius muscles, the ones that scream the most when you live hunched over. Ask yourself, which part of my body is asking for space today? Maybe it's a tight chest, your lower back, or drooping shoulders. Listening to that signal and responding with a breath or posture adjustment is a way of quietly taking care of yourself. Poor breathing and bad posture age you because they send a message of defeat to both body and mind. But when you breathe deeply and walk tall, you don't just rejuvenate physically, you remind yourself that you are alive, present, and dignified. And that dignity, expressed in every inhale and every step, is the true antidote to the invisible wear of time. Number 10. Daily social drinking. Alcohol has the trap of disguising itself as a friend. A glass of wine with dinner, a beer at the gathering, a nightcap to sleep better. It seems harmless, even healthy, since someone once said a glass of wine a day is good for the heart. But the truth is, when it becomes a daily habit, alcohol ages you in silence. It affects the liver, disrupts sleep, dries out the skin, drains your energy, and, most seriously, steals your mental clarity. You notice it in those mornings when you wake up tired even after 8 hours of sleep, in dull skin, in mood swings, and all under the appearance of a social custom. I lived this up close during a time when wine at dinner became a ritual. It started with half a glass, then a full one, and soon it felt strange not to have the bottle on the table. I justified it as my way of unwinding after a hard day. Until one day I started keeping track of my nights. Broken sleep, mounting fatigue, heavy digestion. The wine wasn't relaxing me. It was stealing my rest. Admitting it was tough, but it was also liberating. Alcohol has a paradoxical effect. At first it loosens you up, relaxes you, but afterward it fragments your sleep, dehydrates you, and forces your liver to work overtime. That silent wear shows up with the years. The problem isn't an occasional celebration, it's the unnoticed daily habit that slips by because it's socially accepted. As Seneca said, what many do does not become right because of their numbers. So how do you break this habit? The first step is brutal honesty. Calculate how much you drink per week. Write it down. Often what we think is a little turns out to be far more than we imagined. Keeping a drinking diary is an uncomfortable mirror, but it wakes you up. The second step is making a temperance pact. I'm not talking about absolute prohibition if you don't want that, but about giving yourself 90 days to see how your body feels without alcohol. During that time, try alternatives that truly relax. Herbal teas, sparkling water with slices of fruit, or even different evening rituals, like journaling briefly or listening to soft music. Another practice that helped me was writing a letter to the future, a letter to myself, reminding me how I felt on those alcohol-fatigued days and how my rest transformed when I let it go. Reading that letter in moments of temptation was like a compass pointing me back to the path I had chosen. Alcohol ages you silently because it robs you of quality of life in small doses, and the bill adds up over the years. But temperance rejuvenates because it restores clarity, true rest, and clean energy. Epictetus said that true freedom is not being a slave to what seems pleasurable. That phrase takes on real meaning when you discover you don't need a drink to relax, because your peace is already within you. That's the wisest toast you can give yourself, to drink dignity instead of excuses. We've walked together through 10 silent habits that, without realizing it, steal our youth, our energy, and our clarity. From poor sleep to processed food, from unshaken stress to that harmless glass of alcohol, along with lack of movement, isolation, self-criticism, living without purpose, screen overload, and even shallow breathing. Each one, small as it may seem, carries enormous weight when repeated day after day. And what we've discovered is that aging is not just a matter of years, it's a matter of choices. The valuable truth is that each of these habits can be broken, not with magic formulas or impossible routines, but with simple, steady decisions. Choosing to rest better, to eat what nourishes, to move a little each day, to speak to yourself with respect, to connect with others, to live with purpose. Every one of those choices rejuvenates because it restores dignity. And dignity, believe me, is more powerful than any cream or supplement. I want to thank you deeply for making it this far, for giving me your time and attention. That alone says a lot about you, that you're committed to your own well-being, that you seek to live with wisdom and courage. My name is Gabriel, and this space we've shared, the Stoic Garden, exists for that very reason. To remind you that it's never too late to start again, that you can live with calm, independence, and self-respect. Now, I'd love for you to leave me 2 things in the comments. The country you're watching from, because I truly enjoy seeing how this community spreads across so many lands, and a powerful phrase that seals what we've learned today. Here's my suggestion. My well-being is sacred. Write it, engrave it in your mind, and share it, because it captures the essence of what we've walked through together. And please, share this video with a friend, a sister, or someone who might need it. We never know when a word might be the encouragement another heart has been waiting for. Thank you again for joining me in this intimate talk. And don't leave just yet. On screen, you'll see 2 videos that will surely help you continue learning how to live with more serenity and inner strength. Choose one and keep walking this path. Your wisdom, your peace, and your freedom deserve to keep growing.